right, non-firearm stuff, slingshot versus pistol crossbow versus air gun. And I'm doing this video, and everything I'm going to do in this video is kind of a response to a lot of the comments I got and all the testing I've done between air guns, pistol crossbow, slingshots. And one of the biggest things right off the bat here is I did a slingshot test. I did several slingshot tests with this particular slingshot. Some people like to call it a wrist rocket just because, you know, it's got the wrist brace on it. And I've used different ammunition. We have our 38 caliber, our 32 caliber, our 44 caliber. It's supposed to be steel, lead, and lead. And a lot of the comments I got with the slingshot was, that's wrong, you're shooting it wrong, that's the wrong slingshot. And the funniest comment I got, which I still think about today, was the guy that told me that a good slingshot was as powerful, actually more powerful than a 357 Magnum. And that was really funny to me because he was really serious about this. But the biggest comment I got about the slingshot was, hey, you need to use the flat black bands because the black bands are the strongest and the most powerful, and the flat band is better. So what I have is I have a slingshot. This is what is this? I think it said Simple Shot or something like that, or yeah, Simple Shot. And just a basic slingshot. We're going to compare it to this slingshot, and we're going to use different ammunition. And I have the ballistics gel here to test all the things I'm going to test here. And I'm going to get this out of the way here. This is 6 inches wide, and I don't know the exact comparison to like human flesh or anything like that, how ballistics gel, 10% ballistics gel would compare, but my educated guess here is I think it's about 1/3 less dense in general, just from some of the stuff I've studied. So what I'm thinking is that if we can get through this 6-inch block, we're probably talking about 4 inches of human flesh, and I think that's probably just the amount you need to be deadly, essentially, and that's what we're trying to test here. And you know that there's actually knife laws on that with a lot of places where over 3 inches you can't carry them, something like that, because I think 4 inches is about right. So I think if we can get out the back of this gel block, I think that this is going to represent whether we're quote-unquote deadly or not. All right, on to the pistol crossbow. I did a lot of tests with your basic bolts, and what I had was 107 grain bolts. I have a couple different bolts here. These happen to be 95 grain, so they're going to be moving faster than the previous bolts I had. But then one of the biggest comments I had was, hey, you need broadheads, that'll do the damage. So what I have here, these are 175 grain bolts, so they are nearly twice as heavy as these, so they're going to be moving significantly slower. And we're going to run these through the chronograph and see what kind of velocity we can get anyways. But we have a razor edge that should make a huge difference in what it's going to do to this gel block. And with our air gun, a lot of people say get a different air gun, but I still think this is a pretty decent air gun. So what I got for pellets, they're Red Flight Extra Heavy, I believe, and they have, you know, like polymer bases but a really sharp tip. And we'll compare these, try to get some chronograph readings. My chronograph is kind of finicky with stuff like this, but we also have some pyramid points. We got the Raptors. We just got some basic domed pellets. These are 14.4 grain lead that are just copper plated. This is your standard, I suppose. So let's get started with this test. We're going to go through the chronograph. We're going to see what kind of velocity we can potentially get. There's a difference between the flat black band and the traditional band. We're going to see what kind of velocity we get with the crossbow, and if I can with the air gun. So let's get started with this test. All right, first up we're going to do the slingshot with the 53 grain steel ball. And keep in mind, I'm not the ninja that you guys happen to be. So my skills are not as amazing as you guys that say 357 is, you know, slingshot's just as powerful as that. But we'll try just our basic one here. I'll try to get as long a draw as possible. See what we get. 224. That's about what I was getting before. I do shoot left-handed just because that's how I grew up, so I'm not the best slingshot shooter. 233, so it's not too bad. No read on that. So let's pull out this flat black band, and according to you guys, I should be getting anywhere between 500 and 10,000 feet per second more, but our last read was what, 230 something. So let's see what this gives. 265. So that's definitely a little bit of an increase. That's a little bit off from the 357 Magnum velocity you'd need, because you'd need over 2,000 feet per second with this weight of a ball. But hey, we're almost 10. We're a little over 10% of the way there. 258. I'm gonna leave it at that. That's actually pretty impressive when we look at the size, because this is a gigantic slingshot. This is a little thing that would fit in your pocket. So to get just a little bit more is actually pretty impressive. So let's try some different weight projectiles with these and see how they compare. And I'm going to use, you know, the most powerful, or what I think is the most powerful in my ballistics gel test. All right, next up I have the 48 grain 32 caliber lead balls. So roughly the same weight. We'll see what this slingshot does. 241. Yeah, for weighing a little bit, well, this actually is faster than the other one, than the other ammo in this. 238. Let me try the other slingshot. $275, not too bad. That's pretty decent. Let me run another one. Yeah, I'm hitting something. I think I'm hitting the poles on the side of that chronograph, but I'll take that because that's pretty decent. Now we're going to try the heaviest one, 127 grain 44 caliber. So that might make a huge difference here in this test if we can get decent velocity on that, because that's going to contain a lot of energy and momentum if we can get it going fast enough. All right, we have our 44 caliber 127 grain lead ball. See what this does. No read. $207, that's pretty decent for this. No read. I'll take that one reading. Let's try that in this particular slingshot. See if we can beat that 200 and whatever it was, 207 or something. 218, so a little bit better. $216. I'm gonna say I think probably the one that's gonna, this one probably contains the most energy, but I think the 32 caliber is gonna have the most energy for its size. Probably penetrate the best. So I guess I'll try all three of those slingshot ammos into the ballistics gel just to see anyways. Let's see how the pistol crossbow does now. All right, so I have these little 95 grain bolts, and I fired a couple of them in my garage, and I was kind of impressed by what I was seeing, just the way they move so quickly. Let's see if I can get a velocity reading on this. 191. Can't say that's necessarily better than the 107 grain bolts I used were. 189, that's enough to get an idea. Now let's try those broadhead bolts. I'm gonna try at least one anyways, and these are a lot heavier. All right, here is our broadhead bolt. For being so heavy, I don't know what to expect with this. 189 was the 95 grain velocities. 128, that's not too bad. I'm gonna take that number just because I only have 3 of these broadhead bolts. I don't want to like mess them all up before they hit the ballistics gel. Now on to the pellet gun reading. This is kind of finicky with my pellet gun because they're just so small. The chronograph doesn't want to read them, but we'll try anyways. All right, first up I have just your basic Crosman domed 14.4 grain. It happens to be copper washed. And we'll see what this gets. 723. I'll run another one. 731. Let's try a different pellet. All right, we have our Raptor Gold pellets. I believe these are like 9.7 grains. I'll confirm it. These load a lot harder to load. Let's see if I can get a reading. Yeah, this is where we get into trouble. If they're not the right shade, if they're moving too fast, or if they're too small, they don't want to read. 911, so at least we got a reading right there. That's not too bad. Just pushing the envelope a little bit there. No read. All right, let me try those pointed pellets. Here's our 16.7 grain pointed pellet. This is kind of the star of the show here, because I'm thinking these might do well. Pretty heavy pellets. I don't know if I'll get a chronograph read though. 711, at least I got something. And a big gulp. Oops. .694, so we're right at about 700 feet per second, but they are definitely the heaviest, almost 17 grains. Now let's do our ballistic test with the ballistics gel and just kind of see what all these things will do if we can get anything through that 6-inch block. All right, I'm going to start with the most likely, I think, to get through this block, and that's going to be the pellet gun. I'll try to make a nice level shot on this, see if I can get through it. This happens to be the 14 grain lead pellet. Absolutely, we zipped right through that. I might turn the block the other way if we get a lot of pass-throughs with a lot of things, but for now, that went through. I'm going to say probably deadly. Next up, we have our Raptor pellet. This was moving the fastest, 911 feet per second. See if I can place that right above there. That one's just in there. We had about an inch to go. Now we have our penetrator pellet. This theoretically should penetrate the best. It's got the most momentum. A nice sharp tip. Wow, that thing hit hard. Before I move on, I wanted to show this. This had the most damage in here. We had that, as most people call it, a wound track. That's pretty impressive. It's bigger than the rest of them. This lead one just went straight through. This one had a little bit of damage on that track, but this one had the most and then went through on top of that. That's impressive. All right, next up, I'm going to hit with the pistol crossbow. This is just our basic bolt, and this is going almost 200 feet per second. So I'm really curious to what this will do, because of how fast it's moving and how it's relatively a small bolt. Okay, that didn't do much. So we got probably just a little over 2 inches in gel. Not particularly great. And we got about almost 2.5 here. So let's pull out a brand new razor sharp bolt and we'll see what this does. Not much different. So it is different because we got almost 3 3/4 inches, and there's definitely more cutting. So even though this is significantly slower, I'm going to say this definitely did better in the gel test than just a basic shooter bolt, you know, your target bolt. All right, next up we have the Slingshot. I'm going to use this one because it had overall the best velocities. And I'm going to pull this back as far as I possibly can. And we have our 53 grain steel ball. Let's see what this does. And I shot over the top. Let me try again. Like I said, I'm not a master ninja at this. All right, we impacted the gel and it fell off. It didn't even look like it fully went in. There's a little bit coming out, so, you know, not even a half an inch. Let's see if the smaller diameter or the larger diameter lead balls make a difference, because they're definitely a lot more dense. All right, now we have the 32 caliber 48 grain lead ball. We'll see what this does. Impacted the gel. Oh, it's in it. It is in it about inch and a half. Let's try the 44 caliber. 44 caliber lead. Ow! This is why we wear eye protection. Literally, I saw it come back. I guess I am a ninja because I went like this because I saw it come out my face and it hit my thumb. And I deflected it away from my face somehow. So we don't want to use 44 caliber with this particular thing if we're trying to get penetration. That doesn't mean it's not going to have a lot of momentum and a lot of power. And I can tell you this, bouncing off something, you're going to lose near half your velocity. And this hurts a lot. So if I got hit with something twice as powerful as that in my head, I might go down. So because I got a lot of the extra ammo, a lot of extra bolts, a lot of extra stuff, I'm gonna shoot at 25 yards at my steel gong out there and just see what these type of weapons will do at that range. It'll be kind of a fun little test, especially with the slingshot. So let's get started with that part of the test. All right, I'm gonna try the pellet gun. I'm gonna use these penetrator pellets because they seem to have the most smack on that ballistic gel. They are the heaviest, so they should have the most momentum downrange on steel. So let's see what we get. See if I can hit this thing. And the most drop. I think I went below it. Aim at the top of that plate. There we go. All right, let me try some slingshot shots and see what I can do. I know ballistics gel doesn't really tell a whole story overall when it comes to a weapon like this, but first up I have the 32 caliber lead ball. I'm not very good with the slingshot, so I don't know if I can hit this, but we'll try. Yeah, this is going to be a challenge for me because I shoot left-handed and I kind of plinked around as a kid. I wasn't really serious with it. Hit a tree that hit pretty hard. All right, I have the 44 caliber ball. Yeah, it's just kind of going over it. This is probably going to end with not any hits because of the way I shoot, but you know, I'm testing ballistically, not necessarily for accuracy and pinpoint accuracy, because I can't really tell where I'm holding. I could probably attempt to do right-handed, but I'm not particularly good that way. And when I do this, I can only get about that much pull. And yeah, I'm a lot closer, but there's no power there. I just have a natural feel to shoot left-handed. Back to a steel ball here. These ones I can actually see a little bit though in flight. Yeah. So the steel balls are going to be most likely what I'm going to be able to hit something with, because I can kind of see where I'm hitting and make adjustments. So I got another steel ball. Yeah, I can make adjustments. I was off by about a foot. That's about it. So I just need to hold about, well, that hurt. Let me try something else. That slapped me in the throat. That didn't feel very good. But that's the band everybody told me I needed. So let's pull out this one. What I grew up with, basically. All right, pistol crossbow bolts. They're gonna get ruined, but hey, let's see what they can do at 25 yards. All right, yeah, I did get a 65 pack of these for only like 10 bucks, so big deal. if I hit this. Yeah, I was just kind of aiming over it, and I actually shot over it. Didn't seem to move very fast at distance, though. By the way, this is a 50-pound bow. All right, I aimed on it, went just under it. The windage is perfect, but the elevation is a little bit hard to figure out. So I think if I aim just at the very top of the plate, maybe an inch over it, should be right. That's funny. Now I can say this is very consistent in the way that it shoots, for sure. So that's what you get today. I'm not trying to say slingshots are bad. I am going to say, though, that the flat black band didn't add a whole lot to the equation. Now, being that it's like less than half the size and it's actually shooting a little bit faster, that's actually pretty impressive. But we saw with our durability with the bands, not quite as durable as a tubed band. I know somebody's going to get on here and tell me I did everything wrong again, but you know, I'm just trying here to get what people want to see, and this is what I'm getting with these products. I'm going to say overall, if I had to pick one of these, if I had to hunt something, or even if I had to defend myself, I'm going to say the pellet gun, obviously, because it's more accurate, it's consistently, it's very easy to hit what I'm aiming at. And we went completely through the gel with two of the 3 shots, which in my estimation is quote-unquote deadly. As where everything else, I mean, obviously that pistol crossbow bolt that was razor sharp, if that went between a rib or something, that could easily kill somebody. But I'm going to say the pellet gun is more consistent overall. However, you know, the slingshot, for what it is, it can fit in a back pocket, is not bad. So that's what you get today with my test of this. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.